What if the most powerful man in the world, the one who shapes the fate of nations and commands armies, was trapped inside a nightmare of his own making? Not a nightmare of ghosts or monsters, but one born from paranoia, betrayal, and the very shadows of power itself. This isn't just a political thriller. It's a horror story wrapped in the golden halls of power, where trust is a currency no one can afford, and every whisper hides a dagger. Our story begins in the towering, gleaming skyscraper of the world's capital, the seat of a presidency known for its spectacle and showmanship. The man at its center, a figure larger than life, with a signature red tie and a comb-over that defies reason, walks the marbled halls surrounded by portraits of his predecessors. But beneath the confident smile and brash speeches, something is unraveling. Behind closed doors, the man once hailed as a master negotiator now finds himself ensnared in a labyrinth of suspicion. Meetings that once sparked rallies and headlines now end in silence or veiled threats. His closest aides exchange nervous glances, their loyalty fractured by secrets only they know. The walls seem to close in, every echo a whisper, every shadow a lurking threat. He paces in his private office, phone in hand, scrolling through news reports that twist his words into weapons against him. His mind races. Who is friend? Who is foe? Paranoia claws at his thoughts like a ravenous beast. Late at night, the phone rings with no one on the other end. Footsteps echo in empty corridors. Confidential documents disappear, only to reappear, mysteriously in the hands of his adversaries. Each incident chips away at his sense of control. What started as a campaign to make great again now feels like a desperate struggle to hold on to reality itself. Outside the fortress of power, rumors swirl. Enemies, real and imagined, conspire in the shadows. Stories leak of secret deals and hidden agendas, of betrayals woven deep into the fabric of the administration. Whispers speak of surveillance, not just by foreign powers, but by those closest to him. A digital maze of encrypted messages and backdoor communications fuels the sense that no one can be trusted, not even the people sworn to serve. The man's dreams are haunted by faces, some familiar, some grotesque, mocking, accusing, disappearing before he can grasp them. Every day becomes a battle between the public persona and the private terror gnawing at his mind. This is not the horror of monsters or demons. This is the horror of power stripped bare, where paranoia infects every thought, and every ally could be the next betrayer. Where the golden walls echo, not with laughter, but with silence, heavy enough to suffocate. What happens when the very system designed to protect a leader becomes the prison that traps him? When the spotlight of global attention turns inward, and the man must confront the darkest corners of his own making? The days blur into restless nights. Sleep becomes a distant memory as the man finds himself haunted not by ghosts, but by his own suspicions. Each smile from an aide, each whispered conversation outside his door, becomes a puzzle piece in a vast and terrifying conspiracy he can neither confirm nor deny. The once familiar faces of his trusted inner circle now shift in his mind's eye, friend morphing into foe without warning. Meetings grow tense, words are measured with deadly precision. He feels the weight of unseen eyes, cameras hidden in every corner, even in the most private moments. A text message arrives with a cryptic warning. They're closer than you think. His heartbeat races. Is it a warning or a threat? The lines between reality and fear begin to blur. Paranoia tightens its grip, twisting his thoughts into spirals of doubt and desperation. Behind the polished veneer of the presidency, dark secrets bubble beneath the surface. Alliances forged in shadows, deals brokered with dangerous players, and truths buried deep beneath layers of deception. The man starts uncovering files mysteriously left on his desk, emails he never sent, recordings of conversations that never happened, yet somehow feel chillingly real. Late one night, Alone in the dim glow of the Oval Office, he discovers a hidden folder on a secure server labeled only Project Shadow. The documents inside hint at a secret operation designed to manipulate power at a scale he never imagined. Faces he trusted appear in the files, implicated in betrayals that cut to the core of everything he stands for. The realization dawns. The horror isn't outside the walls of power, it's inside. His world is unraveling from within, and the deeper he digs, the more entangled he becomes in a web he can't escape. As the web tightens, isolation becomes his only refuge. Public appearances grow rarer, trusted confidants vanish or turn silent. Rumors swirl in the media of mental strain, of mysterious illnesses, of a man haunted by unseen forces. The press hounds the empty halls outside his residence, but inside only echoes answer back. He begins to distrust even himself, questioning every memory, every decision. Is this paranoia or prophetic insight? The line fades until all that remains is fear. A man trapped in a nightmare of his own making, fighting shadows that may or may not be real. The world outside watches in awe and horror as the once flamboyant leader begins to unravel in ways no one predicted. It's not just the public spectacle anymore. The real terror lies behind the closed doors of power. Strange things start happening. Things that no official report can explain. Documents disappear from his personal safe, only to be found shredded in the most unlikely places. Confidential briefings include files he never authorized, filled with ominous warnings about threats from within his own administration. His secure phone buzzes at odd hours with cryptic messages, strings of numbers, fragments of sentences, and ominous warnings like, "They're watching. Trust no one. The walls have ears." The sender is always unknown, the calls untraceable. His security team assures him it's a prank or a sophisticated hack, but the anxiety gnaws deeper with every unanswered question. Then there are the whispers, unconfirmed rumors of secret meetings held in the dark corners of government buildings, whispers of a shadow faction, pulling strings behind the scenes, manipulating policy and power with ruthless precision. Whispers that the very people he trusted, his closest advisors and allies, are part of this unseen cabal. One night, alone in the Oval Office, he receives an anonymous tip. A USB drive slipped under the door. The files reveal covert operations to undermine his presidency, secret recordings of conversations with foreign operatives, evidence of backdoor deals meant to erode his authority. The shock cuts deeper than any public scandal. It's a betrayal from within, a conspiracy that threatens not just his position, but his very sanity. Paranoia transforms into a living, breathing horror. Every shadow in the grand halls seems to shift and whisper. Staff members who once greeted him with smiles now avoid his gaze. Cameras installed for security catch fleeting images, figures moving in the periphery, doors opening by themselves, messages scrawled in places no one should reach. His dreams become a twisted mirror of his waking fears, visions of a faceless enemy cloaked in power, manipulating puppets on a global stage. He wakes drenched in sweat, heart pounding, struggling to separate nightmare from reality. The man who once commanded millions now feels like a prisoner of his own mind, trapped in a castle that has become a labyrinth of terror. Rumors of a coup swirl, fed by leaks and anonymous sources. Allies disappear overnight, replaced by unknown operatives whose loyalty is untested and cold. The leader becomes isolated, retreating behind layers of security and walls, the golden cage growing ever smaller. The story edges toward its darkest moment. As trust disintegrates and the conspiracies deepen, the man faces a choice: to fight a phantom war alone, or surrender to the darkness creeping into his soul. The golden throne that once symbolized triumph now feels like a crypt, silent, suffocating, and unescapable. In this horror tale of power and paranoia, the real enemy is not a foreign adversary or a political rival, but the shadows within, doubt, fear, and betrayal. The question remains, can a man so powerful break free from the nightmare he helped create, or will he forever be a prisoner of his own empire of fear? The tension reaches a breaking point as the man, once untouchable and fearless, finds himself staring into the abyss of his own making. The golden walls no longer shine. They cast long, suffocating shadows. Whispers grow louder. Allies turn their backs. The fortress of power crumbles from within. In a final, desperate act, he confronts the puppeteers, shadowy figures cloaked in secrecy, those who once pledged loyalty, but now weave betrayal. The confrontation is less a battle and more a terrifying revelation. The system he commanded has become a maze with no exit. Every move is anticipated, every ally compromised. The paranoia that once seemed like madness now feels justified. He stands alone, a king in a haunted castle, surrounded by silence and echoes of his own downfall. The empire of power, built on ambition and bravado, is a prison of... This story is a dark mirror reflecting the human cost of unchecked power and the isolation it breeds. It warns that the true horror is not external enemies, but the corruption and paranoia that can consume even the mightiest. Power without trust, leadership without humility, and ambition without conscience create not heroes, but prisoners. In the end, the man's greatest enemy was never the opposition. It was the empire he built around himself, a kingdom of shadows where no one was safe, not even the king. So, what happens when the throne you crave becomes the cage that traps you? When the very power you wield turns inward, consuming your mind and soul? Is it possible to rise above the darkness of your own making? Or are we all destined to become prisoners of the empires we create? Think about it, because sometimes the scariest horror story isn't about monsters in the night. It's a prison of fear and isolation. It's about the monsters within.